the thing is that there's actually, I'm just going to star this. Whenever we get into the idea of modifiers, now we have differences in where we can put the location, okay? So basically, in the previous example, I showed you that you could put the location before the root. And if you do that, that's fine. If you put your location before the root, so for example, 1 pentene, that would be like considered like the old school method, okay? And that's fine. But if you have more than one modifier present, then many times it's going to be more advantageous to use it within the root, okay? If it's within the root, that's what we call new school. So I want to show you an example of what that looks like. So 1 pentene. This would be the old school method. The new school method would be, and by the way, new school and old school isn't really like a scientific term. It just has to do with, as names start getting more complicated, there started to become more of a need to use it within. And it's pent 1 ene. Alright, so I know that that next one, that second one doesn't look quite as nice. It's like, yuck. There's numbers inside of my word. But sometimes that becomes essential, especially when you have more than one modifier in the word. So for example, let's say that I had a double bond and an alcohol. So let's say that I had pent, ene, all. Okay? Notice that the en describes that I have a double bond, and the ol describes that I have an OH somewhere. Okay? Let's say that they are in positions 1 and 4. Okay? If I just say 1,4-pentenol, that's really confusing because I don't know which one is where. I don't know, is the ene on the 1 or is the ene on the 4? So that's why I'm going to have to put at least one of these inside of the root. So then this would be a lot more clear. For example, if I did 1 pent ene, well, actually, let's do it the other way. 1 pent 4 enol. Okay? That would be a lot more descriptive because now I would know, okay, the 4 directly describes the alkene. Okay? So I'm just trying to show you that that would be more like a new school method to put at least one of the numbers inside of there. And conversely, on the other hand, you also could have written it, you would have been able to write it as 4 pentene 1-ol. That would have also been fine. Okay? It's just about making sure that each modifier has its own number. Okay? So for this compound, notice that I was kind of giving you all this whole pep talk because you're going to need it for B. So for this compound, I want you to try to solve it on your own, realize that it has a double bond and an alcohol, so it's going to provide a special challenge, and go ahead and try to get the right answer.